What's up, everybody? Today we're playing at the Rio, place where the World Series of Poker is happening, and place where there's a pretty juicy cash game happening as well. Now is a Monday afternoon, and this is how the cash game room is at the moment. Right there are some tournaments happening, satellites as well for the World Series. Welcome to the Poker Prophet channel, the first poker vlog created to help you become a better poker player. I buy in for the max at the 1-3, which is 300. I rather play 1-3 at poker rooms where the max buy-in is higher, like Resorts World, Win. But we came here to check this place out, and let's see how soft or how knit the tables are. The first hand, I'm in the small blind with ace-king suited, 3 limpers. I'm definitely gonna raise, but here you gotta be pretty mindful of which sizing are you using, because you don't want either to make it too big or too small. And I usually go with the sizing of twice the size of the pot. So if the pot has 13, I'm usually gonna go with around $26. I'm gonna do more or less than that depending on how fragile is my hand and how often they are gonna call me in position. So I raised 21, little less than what I would usually raise, but it's because ace-king suited is a very good hand and develops pretty well post-flop. Everybody folds and I win the first hand. Second hand, I'm in the button with ace-4 suited, 1 limper before me. I raise to 15 in position. Limper calls, so we go heads up to the flop. The flop comes ace, 5, 8, all clubs. Most likely I'm winning this hand, and he leads out for $20. Here, I could totally go with the call, but in case he has a club, for example, he has at least 9 outs to get a better hand than me. And I also feel like ace-4 is a really fragile hand. So instead of just calling, I rather raise to 60 and protect my equity over hands that I'm beating, but I'm fragile and I won't like many turns that could possibly come. So I raise to 60. He quickly shoves all in for 195, and of course I'm gonna fold. He's a really nice guy. I can say we became friends afterwards. And after playing with him for a while, I still say that I rather raise this spot other than just calling. And we go to the next hand. I buy in for 100 more. Next hand, I'm in the big blind with pocket sixes. Under the gun raises to 10. 2 players call. Easy call for me. 4 players see the flop. The flop comes 9, 8, 4 rainbow. That's a great flop for my range. And there is a pretty relevant possibility that I'm winning this hand. I check. Everybody checks back. The turn pairs the board, another 8. Now the possibility of me to be winning is even higher. I check again. Middle position bets 20, and I call. We go heads up to the river. River is a 3. I check again. Middle position bets 40. I snap call.
Whoa. 8. Nice call.
He shows ace jack offsuit. I show the sixes, and it's good. Next hand, I'm in the hijack with queen 10 suited, button straddles, 6, small blind and big blind limp. I'm definitely gonna raise in position here. I'll rarely get into any hand by limping, unless it's a pretty unique spot, which is not the case. I raise to 27, button calls, which is not great. I would rather be the one in position over everybody else. Small blind calls, 3 players see the flop. Big blind folds. The flop is pretty good for me. King Jack 4 with 1 spade. I got open-ended and the flop favors a lot my range. I have many ace king, aces, kings, king queen, king jack in my range. So I'm definitely gonna keep betting. I bet 35. I don't need to do it that big. I believe betting 1/3 even represents more strength than betting bigger here. In case they call, most likely I'm gonna keep betting in the turn. Especially if I gain more equity in the turn, and that's what it happens. The turn is a king of spades. Now I got a flush draw. It's me versus the button. My effective stack is 375, and here in this spot, I can bet a sizing representing that I'm gonna shove in the river, which not necessarily I will do it. I mean, maybe I will, but it depends on what card come in the river and the situation I see myself into. But here I'm gonna bet a sizing that's gonna put pressure on the button. And the sizing I decide to use here, it's 2/3 of the pot, betting 105. He thinks for a while, kind of agonizing, but in the end he decides to fold and we win the hand. Less than an hour of game, winning little more than $100. Next hand I get ace-9 suited from the cutoff, under the gun straddle 6, and I raise to 16. Button calls, under the gun calls as well, so 3 players see the flop.
I saw another 6 or 5 of spades.
Yeah, it's 5. Honest. 5 of spades. Oh, fuck, I take my call back. I had to
Flop comes ace king 7 with 2 spades and 1 heart. I got top pair. Most likely I'm winning this hand. They check to me and I'm gonna c-bet. I c-bet to $31. And then the straddler re-raises for 121 really fast. He was an older Chinese guy. He seemed to be pretty tight and somewhat smart in a way where why would he 3-bet so fast and so big for 121?
Can I see your stack, please?
Yeah, I'm gonna show that.
There is a big likelihood that he has a flush draw as well. But I feel like this spot is really close. Because he has like some a7, king 7, 7s in his range. And I feel like he could decide to play this way. Looking at him, I felt kind of bad with my ace-9 hand. This is a really close spot between calling or folding. He has like 190 behind, so if I call the 130, there's a pretty big likelihood he's gonna shove all in the turn or river. And SPR will be pretty small, which is gonna make me tend to call more. So here, because I didn't feel that good in this spot and I have only $31 invested, I decided to be patient and fold. Really weird hand because this flop favors way more my range than his. But sometimes you have to trust your gut, and that's what my instinct was telling me to do. And unfortunately he didn't show, so we will never know if I made the correct option. Next hand I'm in the cutoff with 6-8 suited. I just came back to the table, so that's what I had to post $3 in the cutoff. I check, small blind raises $15, big blind calls, middle position calls as well. And here $13 more to play in position against 3 other players. Pretty easy call for me. I call. The flop comes Jack 8-3 with 2 diamonds and 1 spade. Small blind bets $25. I got a decent enough hand to call at least once more. So that's what I do, I call. Turn is a 10. I don't see many 10s in his range, so rarely this card is gonna help him out. Raising 15 pre-flop from the small blind. He bets again, now $45, little less than half pot. And I mean, he has many aces, kings, queens in his range. He also has ace king, ace queen, king queen. And with 6-8, even against those hands that I'm losing, I have 6 outs to improve to a better hand than him. And there is also the possibility that I'm still winning this hand. So I decide to call the $45 and analyze the river. River is a complete blank, a deuce of spades. Now he checks and I check back. He shows king queen offsuit. I show the 6-8 and we win the hand. My past table was bluffing way more than a usual 1-3 table bluffs. So I decided to change table. Most likely an average 1-3 table is gonna be softer than the table I was, so that's what I changed it as well. And let's see if I made a good choice. The first hand I'm in the button with ace-10 offsuit, 1 limper before me. I raised to 16 in position. And just as an observation for you guys, I'm starting to realize that many of you have big problems with sizing. And sizing makes all the difference in your win rate. So whenever you have any doubts about sizing, I would definitely advise you to check it out what sizing I'm using in my raises, so you can model it for your game and use it when you are at the table. Again, sizing makes all the difference in your win rate, so be mindful about that. I raise to 16 position, only middle position calls. We go heads up to the flop, which comes a beautiful one, King Jack 9 rainbow. I have open-ended, and also if the king comes, I'm gonna have a bigger straight. So pretty juicy spot for me to be in position against her. She checks, I'm gonna bet here, won't mind if she folds. I bet 26, 2/3 of the pot. She folds and I win the hand. Okay, some of you guys already know what this sign means. And it means my table is really juicy. There is a guy on position 7 that seems to be pretty crazy. going all in out of nowhere with hands that doesn't make any sense for him to do that. And he has a lot of chips, so that's great. I'm in a great position at the table. And whenever you see yourself in a table where it's way easier than average for you to make money, at least what I do is I don't get out of this table. Like, I might be hungry, I might be whatever you guys can imagine. I'm gonna stay at the table and I'm gonna try to make as much money as I can at that table, because I know that in that particular table I'm gonna be having a way better win rate, hourly rate, than at other average 1-3 tables. So that's what I advise you to do. Just stay at the table and make as much money as possible in terms of EV at that table.
There's so many variants in it. And then you take one.
It's not about where.
I didn't see the straddle.
Next hand, I'm in the big blind with ace queen suited, button straddle 6, cut off limps, small blind re-raised to 26. Instead of 3-betting, I decide to just call in position against him in the big blind. Cut off calls as well. 3 players see the flop. The flop comes deuce, 10, jack, rainbow. Not the best flop for me, but I still have 2 overs and a gut shot to have the nuts. Small blind checks to me, I check behind, and everybody checks. Turn is a good one, a queen of hearts. Now I got top pair, top kicker. Small blind bets 36. I'm losing for a reasonably wide amount of hands, like 10s, jacks, even queens, ace king, aces, kings. And all those hands are in the small blind's range, raising 26 pre-flop. So I decide to just call and analyze the river. River is a pretty interesting one. Ace of spades. Now I got top 2 pair. And now small blind bets 153, around a pot size bet. Pretty weird spot to be in. He has many ace kings in his range. Also aces, but aces I don't feel like he would bet a pot size bet. Or even maybe he would. It wouldn't be a bad play to bet a pot size bet, and in case I raise he folds with aces or even queens. And in this situation, I feel like it's a pretty close decision between calling or folding. And usually when I'm in situations like that, I trust what my gut is saying.
Then I have top 2 pair.
You're out. So your chip's gonna go.
Ace queen.
I tried to extract some information from him, saying that I have ace queen. Honestly, I didn't get anything from him. He just stood still, and I'm really in doubt of what to do. Pretty hard spot to be in. I gotta call 153 for a pot that has 310. For this call to be profitable, I have to be right around 35% of the times. And I'm really not sure how often will I be right here. If I call and I'm wrong, all my profit will be gone. This is not such a relevant information, but it's something that is worth for me to tell you guys.
Holdem.
In the end, I decide to fold, and he doesn't show his cards. Winning $12 now.
Oh, when you said that, I was like, oh my God.
Next hand, I'm in the small blind with ace king offsuit. Hijack raises to 12. I re-raise to $50. Pretty big sizing, but I won't mind if hijack folds. But if he calls, it's gonna be fine as well, because ace king is a great hand. He calls. Hijack is the crazy guy that seems to be a really bad player, which is one of the reasons why I raise so big as well. We go heads up to the flop. Effective stack is $400. The flop comes ace 8-4 with 2 clubs. Great flop for me. I'm gonna keep betting. I bet $50. He calls. The turn is great. A king of spades. Now there are 2 flush draws in the board as well. I'm definitely gonna keep betting. I bet 150 now. I don't wanna let hands like a flush draw or a pair in a flush draw to be able to call profitably in position. So that's what I raise it that big, like 3/4 of the pot. He shoves all in for 353 and I snap call. River is a 4 of diamonds. I show my hand and he shows ace 7, having just top pair and going all in the turn. And those are the type of people you want at your table. People who make mistakes like that. Like if I was in his shoes, I wouldn't even call pre-flop. So while he lost around $600 for me in this hand, if it was the exact opposite situation, I would lose how much? $12, $15? And this is where your profit will come from. It will come from the edge of how better are your decisions comparing to your opponents. I had little less chips than him, so I won a little less, but still, great pot to be won.
They would have just blinded out his chips.
Really? Yeah, I've never been in that situation.
Yeah, but he almost like it wasn't for the fact that he left his backpack on his chair.
I would have lost a lot of money if I called that hand. King 10.
Oh my
Okay,
god.
it was them two.
I would have called pretty much quite a lot.
And I folded
Nice hand.
King 6 of hearts.
How much do I have?
302.
So glad I would have done the bottom.
Not in Vegas.
Almost 3 hours of game, winning 430 for now. Next hand I'm in the button with pocket aces, one limper before me. I raised to 10. I will rarely raise that small. I believe I did that size in trying to exploit the player who limped. There are some tables and situations where you can change the way you play in your sizing to be able to exploit better the players you are playing against. And I highly recommend you to be mindful about how to use those things in your favor while you're in the table. Big blind calls, then the limper re-raises to $20. He is the same player from last hand, so great spot to be in. I could decide just to flat here, but I won't. I re-raise to $55. Big blind calls, which is odd, but it's great because I have the best possible hand. Under the gun calls as well, who is the limper. So 3 players see the flop. The flop is a great one. King, deuce, deuce. There are really few combinations of deuces in their hands and kings as well. And there are almost no turns that I don't like besides the king. So when they check to me, I decide to check back and give them a shot to hit something in the turn. Turns a jack. Now big blind leads $50. Under the gun folds. And here I feel like I made a mistake because I should have called in position and let him go all in the river. But I decide to re-raise to 150 and he snap folds and I win the hand. I really think it would be a better option to just call and open space for him to bluff or even bet for value with a hand that was worse than aces. Next hand I'm in the big blind with king 4 offsuit, button straddles. I complete the straddle, 4 players call, so $24 in the pot. I make top pair in the flop, but with a really bad kicker. There's a relevant chance I'm winning this hand though. I check, cutoff bets 20, almost a pot-sized bet. I call, turn is a 5, pretty much a blank. I check again, he bets 30 now, and here a call would be totally fine. But out of position, I feel like if I call, I'm gonna let him too comfortable playing in position against me and having the option if he was beating me to bet for value in the river. And if he wasn't beating me and I was winning this hand, to be able to check back in the river, and I don't feel like he is gonna bluff that often in the river. So instead of just calling, I decided to re-raise to $80 and protect my equity over hands that I'm beating. And in case he calls or goes all in, I'm gonna turn it off and check folding in the river. So I re-raise to $80 and he folds. In case you guys don't know, sometimes I like to get some beer to play, especially when the table is nice. Next hand I got ace jack suited from the button. Under the gun straddle 6, 2 limpers. Great spot for me to raise. I raised 36 in position against them.
I like you, man. I like you, man. That's all I have to say.
Big blind re-raises me to $78. And here again, that's something I already said before, but people in this 1-3 tend to size really small, and that's a big mistake. Like right now I have ace jack suited, so that's a clear call. But when I raise 36 and she re-raises to 78, I can pretty much call with any 2 cards that is gonna be profitable. I'm in position against her, deep enough to be able to stack her pretty big in case I hit the flop, turn or river. So here I pretend I have a decision to make, but that's a clear call for me, especially with the hand that I have, which develops pretty well post flop. So that's what I do, I call. The flop comes king, queen, jack. I have bottom pair and a gut shot. She checks in the dark and I check back. Turns a 7 of diamonds, a blank. She checks again and I'm gonna check back again. River is another blank. Now she bets 125 and I fold. Next hand I have ace king. I raise to 12. 2 callers. 3 players see the flop. The flop comes ace, jack, 6, all clubs. I got top pair, top kicker, but no club in my hand. I see bet $26, around 2/3 of the pot. Woman in the other side of the table re-raises me to $56. I don't think she will have a flush that often, so most likely I'm winning her. But then another player calls her, and now I have a red flag. Like, there is a chance I'm still winning, but what hands that I'm beating would he call her re-raise? Maybe a ace queen, especially ace queen with the queen of clubs, or a pair and a flush draw with the king of clubs. So those hands I'm beating, but there are many hands that I'm losing as well, such as flushes, 2 pairs, even sets. So I call, but I got a pretty big red flag already. Turn is a blank, a 9 of diamonds. We both check to the raiser. Now she bets $50, which is a really weird sizing, especially because she raised even bigger in the flop. And now big blinds goes all in for $171. Pretty weird spot to be in, but my gut was telling me that I was losing.
Oh my gosh.
So I decided to trust my instinct and fold.
Wants a 71.
Give you a chance.
71 more.
Ready? Yeah, let's go for it. One smart color and he felt smart. 2 smart colors, they both felt smart.
Just for the record, this table was great, full of great people. I really like them and I hope to meet them someday again. Really nice and polite people, and shout out for all of them.
Trust me, I am not gonna get it. I am not gonna get it. Right.
I know what they were doing
Let's
instead
go.
of feeling
Why
smart.
not? All right. So, one smart fella, he felt smart. 2 smart fellas, they both felt smart. 3 smart fellas,
I'm
and
gonna
they
make
all
the worst
felt
call
smart.
tonight.
I got your blind.
Whoa!
You have to pair?
Did it? That was it?
That's it.
No.
You did it.
I had ace king. Oh. Please show a flush.
To win that.
That's a nasty.
No, I just wanna. Yes. Yes.
He shows queen deuce of clubs. He had a flush in the flop and I was already way behind, and I'm happy that I folded in the turn. Next hand I'm in the small blind with 9-10
He's
suited. Button raises 20. He was really tight, so from the small blind I rather just fold in this hand.
I'm a nit.
Next hand I got ace deuce suited from the hijack. 1 limper before me, I raised to 15 in position. Small blind and limper call, so 3 players see the flop. I'm huge in this flop. I got nut flush draw and 1 over in position. Limper bets $10 and I'm in a great spot to call $10 in position with 9 outs to have the nuts. I'm gonna hit my flush in the turn around 18% of the times. So most of the times I won't hit my cards, but calling $10 for a pot that has 61 gives me great odds for me to call, so that's what I do. I just call. Small blind calls as well, even better. Turn is a 7, it pairs the board. Really bad card for me, but it will be rare the times that one of them has the full house, so I still most likely have 9 outs for the flush, and maybe 3 outs more for the ace. Limper bets 22 now. Again, 22 for a pot that has 103. I have great odds to call in position, so that's what I do again. I call. Small blind folds. I missed the river. Now any amount he bets, I'm gonna fold, and that's fine. The way the hand played out, it was great for me. I didn't hit my flush, but he gave me great odds to call, and I'm happy with that. He bets 50 and I fold. Next hand, I'm in the middle position with aces again. I raise to 15, cut off and big blind call, so 3 players see the flop. The flop comes ace, king, jack with 2 spades. I got top set. I see bet 15, a third of the pot. Hopefully they're gonna call me, because this board favors way more my range than theirs. So there's a pretty big likelihood they are gonna fold, which doesn't happen. Cut off re-raises to 40.
I think that's 35.
No.
Actually, cut off re-raises to 35. She has like 180 behind in her stack, and she's in position against me. If she wasn't in position, I would totally just call here. But because she's in position, and if I call, most likely I'm gonna have to check, and she will have the option of checking back. And there are some flush draws in this board, some gut shots as well. So I decided to Re-raise her for $75. If she has a hands like a pair and a gut shot or a gut shot and a flush draw, she will most likely call, but she folds and I win the hand. Next and last hand of this episode, I got pocket jacks on the low jack. I raised to 15. Cutoff calls me again. Big blind calls as well. He's the same guy who was going all in with hands that it makes no sense. So 3 players see the flop. I make top set in the flop, and I have the jack of hearts, which allows me to check more often. So when big blind checks, I check back. Cutoff bets 25. Big blind calls. So I'm at a great spot here to check raise, but I want to raise a sizing that they're gonna call pretty often. And most likely when I raise, most of the hands I'm gonna have are aces, kings, queens. So people who have a pair, for example, have 6 outs against me. So I'm gonna raise a sizing that people who have a flush draw, for example, or a pair and or a decent pair with a decent kicker are gonna call me more often. So I decide to raise to $80.
80. We raised to 80.
So you guys are fly hit. So this is like my first time I've been here.
Cutoff folds, big blind calls, so we go heads up to the turn, which is a great one. A 8 of clubs. If he has 9-10, congrats, but I believe he will rarely have that. Big blind checks, his effective stack is 495. I decide to bet 170.
Are you, what's that? I just work there.
He quickly shoves all in,
I work for a newspaper
Call.
there.
Okay.
Call.
All in
I
and
went to
call.
Mizzou.
and I call. I show the jacks. He shows jack 9, having a pair and a gut shot only. Turn is a 9, almost there, but not good enough, and I win the hand. When he was about to show his cards, I thought he would show 10-9 for a sec. The table broke after this hand. I liked a lot all the players that were in this table, so even better because I'm not gonna try to take their money. And pretty great session. Won $968 in 5 hours and 56 minutes. And met some great people that now I consider them my friends. Hopefully they're gonna be watching this episode. What's up everybody, just editing the next coming up vlog that is gonna be next week most likely, and I got a very special announcement to make for you guys. The announcement is that I'm making my first ever meetup game. It's gonna be on December 22nd and it's gonna be online because I'm far away from most of you, so it wouldn't be possible for us to make a presence meetup game. It's gonna be in a club on Poker Bros, and I hope to see you there. I hope you guys enjoyed it. If you did, don't forget to hit the like and subscribe to the channel. The mission of this channel is helping you become a better poker player, and see you next time.